Travel time! Let's go to school! It's math time! Welcome to my Mathematics 6 class. Good day everyone! I am Esmer L. Alidon, your mathematics teacher. Our lesson for today is all about identifying ratio and proportion. Before we will proceed in our discussion, let me ask you a question. How to tell whether the ratios form a proportion? How to find the missing term in a proportion? Before we will answer these questions, let us unlock first the essential competencies. Question: what is proportion? A proportion is an equality of two ratios. Two ratios are equal if the fractions formed are equivalent. Therefore, an equation stating that two ratios are equal is called proportion. Next, what is ratio? A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. Ratio of A to B can also be expressed as A is to B or A over B. These are the two ways of expressing ratio. First, A is to B is what we call ratio form. Second, A over B is what we call fraction form. Based on the definitions earlier, we write proportions to help us establish equivalent ratios and solve for unknown quantities. In the proportion 16:4 equals 20:5, the 16, 4, 20, and 5 are called the terms of the proportion. The 16 is the first term, the 4 is the second term, the 20 is the third term, and the 5 is the fourth term. If the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes, then we say that the two ratios are proportional. In the given proportion, 16:4 equals 20:5. 4 and 20 are what we called means, and 16 and 5 are what we called extremes. Now, let's answer the two questions earlier. First, how to tell whether the ratios form a proportion. Let's answer this question by giving a problem. Example: 16:4 equals 20:5. First, let's multiply the extremes. 16 times 5 equals 80. Next, we will multiply the means. 4 times 20 equals 80. 80 equals 80. Therefore, the two ratios are proportion or equivalent. Let's write the given ratio form in example number 1 into fraction form. 16/4 equals 20/5. Now, we will multiply the means and the extremes. Or we can apply the cross multiplication. Let's multiply the extremes. 16 times 5 equals 80. 4 times 20 equals 80. Therefore, the two ratios are proportion or equivalent. Now, let's answer the question how to find the missing term in a proportion by giving example. To determine the missing term in a proportion, study the examples below. Example, 16:4 equals 20:n. First, we will multiply the extremes. 16 times n equals 16n. Next, we will multiply the means. 4 times 20 equals 80. In order to get the value of n, we will divide both sides by 16. 16 divided by 16 equals 1 or 1n or n. Next, 80 divided by 16 equals 5. Therefore, the missing term n equals 5. Let's write the example in number 1 in fractional form. We have 16/4 equals 20/n. Multiply the extremes and means, or just simply apply the cross multiplication. Let's multiply. Multiply the extremes. 16 times n equals 16n. Next, the means. 4 times 20 equals 80. To get the value of n, we will divide both sides by 16. 16 divided by 16 equals 1 or 1n or n. Next, 80 divided by 16 equals 5. Therefore, the missing term n equals 5. For exercise number 1, solve for n from the given proportion. Write your answer in 1/2 yellow paper. Attach your 1/2 yellow paper with answer in your mathematics module. Given number 1, 10:n equals 4:8. Number 2, n over 6 equals 6/9. Number 3, n:15 equals 4:5. To sum up the lesson, a ratio is a comparison of two quantities. A statement that two ratios are equal is a proportion. Equivalent fractions name equal ratios. Don't forget to answer your module and also take a picture of your written works and send it to me through Messenger. Once again, I am Teacher Ali. See you next week.